can make it. Job chapter 13, verse 15, the BA clause, it says, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. Though he slay me, yet will I trust him. I'm going to preach for a few moments from the subject, trusting God in tough times. Just put your Bible down and shake 2 or 3 people's hand and say, I want to encourage you. You got to trust God in tough times. Today, our world is changing and shifting. It is in an age of newness, new things, new value systems, new moralities, and new people with new knowledge. It is an age of plastic people who are superficial and artificial. They are not for real. And they are not genuine, nor are they sincere. And as a result, it is difficult to trust people. In the business world, we see the erosion of trust in institutions, and executives once viewed as solid have been now called into question. And pardon me for starting the obvious, but the whole issue of trust has not exactly been going well for us in this country. I'm talking about America. From investment advisor Barney Madoff, who was convicted of stealing $50 billion, to an Illinois governor alleged of selling Senator then Obama's Senate seat. So we have serious issues regarding trust within the context of our marriages, which should be built on trust. We are seeing issues involving betrayal, infidelity. Y'all know what that is, don't you? Infidelity, unfaithful to husband, wife, unfaithful. When you look at the marriage or the wedding ring, in its dynamic, it is circle. It is round. There is no ending or any beginning. It's like God. God came out of nowhere, but he is already everywhere. And so whether you have your wedding ring on or not, you are married. Marriage is honorable and instituted by God. Marriage, we wear the wedding ring as an outward and visible sign of an inward grace. In other words, it does not matter where you are, where you've been. If you said I do, you should mean I do. And most of us now who get married now are more concerned about our big day. My flowers, my dress is perfect. Will all the grooms have their tuxedos? Is the flower girl standing appropriately? Is the ring bearer holding the pillar properly? We're confused and distorted by our day because we're more concerned about having the attention rather than having content after the honeymoon is over. We're more concerned about how good the sex is going to be. Oh, y'all don't want to talk to me. Because more concerned about how well we've planned and how she's gone to Victoria's Secrets to come back with a secret. And then sometime we've grown cold in our marriages and we've gone apart in our marriages, and she's forgotten to even let you know that Victoria really has a secret. And so all I'm trying to tell you tonight is that marriage, trust, and infidelity has been on the uprise while people choose to not only not marry but live together. And live like they married, but don't have the benefits or the commitment of marriage. When you live together, you know, you get mad and go when you want to. When you're married for real, you stay together and walk through whatever you're going through the thick, through the thin, for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health. To God by death shall separate you. And now many people in the church is worse than Elizabeth Taylor. We've gone from 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 marriages now. And we want to say that the woman is to blame. But brother, I have some news to tell you. Out of 5 women, all of them couldn't have been bad. Y'all don't want to help me out? Sister, I need to tell you, out of 7 men, all of them couldn't have been that bad. And all men are not dogs, and all women are not whores. Everybody, amen. There are some good people in this world. So according to research surveys conducted from 1991 to 2006 by the National Science Foundation, however, the number of unfaithful wives under the age of 30 has increased by 20%, and the number of unfaithful husbands by 45%. Even in the environment of the church, we are experiencing trust issues. As a result, the world is in a jam. The nation is in a mess. The home is in trouble. And the individual is in torment. You see, a lot of what's happening in our world is because of men being out of order. God made man the head of the woman. I'm not going to get no help here, because I know we're living in this modern day society where we want equilibrium, equal opportunity, and equal pay. And I don't have a problem with equal pay, but I do have a problem with you being equal when God didn't make us that way. All of us have our unique, and I know I'm going to lose somebody, all of us have our very fine and we unique role. That's why the man was built the way he's built. And that's why the woman is built the way she built. Now, I'm not trying to have no baby. I can't have no baby. I'm not built to have a baby. I'm not trying to be experimented with to see if I can carry a baby. Now, I know I can give a woman a baby. I gave my wife 2. But I'm not trying to have any babies. Do I have a witness here? And so because the man is out of place, the woman is out of place. And because the woman is out of place, the children are out of place. And because the children is out of place, the home is messed up. And because the home is messed up, the street in which you live is jacked up. And because the street in which you live is jacked up, the city is jacked up and messed up. And because the city is the county, and because the county is the state, and because the state is messed up, the nation is messed up. And because the nation is world turning around, the world is in trouble. Because now everybody says everything goes. I want to tell you that stress is shattering the lives of so many people. Everybody is uptight. And tensions is the order of the day. Loneliness and fear have not gone on vacation either. No wonder we find ourselves in the midst of a postmortem trust crisis. So who can you trust? The front cover of the March issue of Oprah magazine asked the question, who can you trust with your life, your money, your secrets, your man, and most of all, your hair? Well, Oprah, there is somebody I can put my trust in. I wish I had somebody going to talk back to me. I'm going to say it again. There is somebody I can place my trust in during tough times. Furthermore, as a result of placing my trust in this person, I am not helpless. I'm not clueless or voiceless, because that person is God, Jehovah. Jehovah Jireh, the Lord my provider. Jehovah Tesiskanu, Jehovah Rapha. Y'all don't want to talk back to me. Jehovah Shalom. In other words, I'm not lost because I know in whom I trust and whom I believe. One thing I know is that Job demonstrated practical leadership in tough times. I'm talking to you soldiers. You got to demonstrate practical leadership in tough times. It's tough to be away from your wife, tough to be away from your children. It's tough to be away from your husband. It's tough to be away from your familiar environment. But I want to tell you, you can survive through tough times. Do I have anybody going to help me preach? In fact, Job epitomized trust in difficult times. And it is so easy to think that a story as old as Job's is familiar to everyone, but it may be new to someone here tonight. So allow me, in a few lines, to offer a quick synopsis of the life of Job. Overnight, somebody say overnight. Without warning, Job's world came tumbling down to such a devastated state that he tore his clothes off of him. Clothes that he was wearing, silk and satin, tore his silk and satin off of him and wrapped himself in sackcloth, sat on an ash pile, scraping the boils off his body. Just in a matter of overnight, life can change. Things can change. Your priorities can change. What used to be number one with you now is number 9 on your list. And what used to be number 10 is now number 1. Y'all don't want to help me out. I'm trying to tell you, your priorities can change overnight. And in one swoop, he was rendered childless by a traumatic and tragic situation. Then after being stricken with illness, with a terrible sickness, Job was also then tormented by his wife, who suggested that he needed to curse God and die. And if that wasn't enough, he was sneered at by his friends, Zophar, Bildad, and Eliphaz. In fact, his 3 friends informed him that he must have done something wrong, or God wouldn't be allowing him to go through what he's going through. Now, I know there's a new theology out there. I know there's a theology out there. I know back where I come from, there's a theology. Radio preachers by all the time on the radio call themselves prophets and tell people that if you come over here, all your problems are going to go away. They tell you that once you come to the Lord, you will have no problems. But that's not the truth. And neither is it theologically sound or biblically firm. Job said that a man that is born of a woman don't have but a few days, and all of those, y'all know the rest of it, are full of trouble. In other words, don't think you're going to live down here and don't have no trouble. Trouble is a part of everybody's life. And let me tell you something, trouble is not necessarily a bad thing, because it is what goes wrong that makes us do right. So they accused Job. You must have done something wrong because God wouldn't be punishing you, Job. So they called him a phony. They called him a hypocrite. So life at the time was very difficult and unfair. But just like Job, you too can go from fortune to misfortune, from calm to calamity, from blessing to cursing. from acceptance to rejection, from prosperity to poverty. You see, no one can argue the point that life is punctuated with hardships, heartaches, and headaches. And Job sunk lower than any other person, yet he epitomized trust in difficult times by demonstrating consistency of character. And let me talk about character for a moment, because we all know what the CIA means, Central Intelligence Agency. But I got another definition for CIA. Character, integrity equals anointing. And a lot of us are not walking in the anointing and power of God because we're not walking in character. We're not walking in integrity. And therefore we're up singing and we're up moving and we're up doing ministry, but we have no anointing. Because we have not allowed God to develop us, because it is what you go through that develop your character. It is the hardships, it is the pain, it is the issues that you go through that develop who you really are. And your character is who you really are when no one is looking. I'm going to let you get that next week. Just lay your hand on somebody's knee and say, that's who you are when I'm not there. Anybody can live saved right now. Oh, it's all right. It's easy to say, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Well, we all here together tonight. It's easy to sing amazing grace. It's easy to sing, Father, I stretch my hand to thee. No other help I know. It's easy to do that when we're all around our church peeps. It's easy to stay sober when you're around your church people. It's easy not to commit fornication and adultery when we in here in the Lord's house. Y'all don't hear what I'm talking about. But it's the life. See, we got to know that when the band goes home and the music stops, we got to live the life that we sing about. So after everybody goes home, you know you. Just look at yourself and say, I know me, I know me. If you be honest, that's one place you say, I don't go over there because I know me. Come on and go out with us tonight. No, I can't go with y'all because I know me. Y'all not going to help me. I see that now. Well, nobody's going to know, but yeah, I'm going to know. God, nobody's going to see us. Nobody's going to know we done what we done. Yeah, but I'm going to know, and God's going to know, and my conscience won't let me live it down. So, and let me give you a word of wisdom. Don't put in front of you that don't belong in you. Don't put in front of you what you cannot handle. Don't put yourself in environments that you know you can't handle. You can't handle the lights turned down low. You can't handle, turn out the lights. Y'all don't want to talk back to me. And come closer. You know you can't handle. See, that's what's wrong with y'all. Y'all too saved. So that's what's wrong. I feel sorry for some of y'all because y'all ain't never sinned. You never drunk nothing. You never committed you've never done nothing wrong. So if you've never sinned, sinners, then you don't know the need of compassion or how to have compassion on people who need forgiveness. I'm preaching too long, let me hurry. You see, he epitomized trust in difficult times by demonstrating consistency of character. Yeah, by demonstrating consistency in character. We have a little problem. We quit the church. We go through something. I'm not going to be faithful right now because I'm going through something. That don't make no sense. I'm just so depressed. I'm going through so much, Rev. I'm coming to church once I get my stuff together. You won't be there. Because the devil is going to make sure you don't get it together. Do I have a witness here? Job's life is a great example of maintaining a solid trust in God. And I know you're dealing with difficult people every day. And if it's not dealing with difficult people, you're dealing with difficult situations. Perhaps your wife or your husband is in a war zone. And every time the phone rings, you get nervous. Or every time you hear the doorbell ring, you don't know what's coming. Yes, maybe you don't really know how long you're going to be deployed or how long your husband or wife is going to be deployed. You just don't know what's going on. And so your faith is being shaken. But I'm telling you, this is not the time to faint. This is not the time to give up hope. But this is a time for you to stand strong. Just look at somebody and say, stand strong. No matter what the circumstances are, stand strong. So I have some questions for you. What was it about Job that enabled him to overcome his insurmountable problems? What was it that made Job so victorious when his world was falling apart? When Job experienced undeserved suffering, how was he able to make sense of his suffering? Well, I believe the answer to these questions can be found in the biblical text. I need to tell you. I really need to tell you, before I go on to that whenever I go through anything, I ask God, what is it? Am I to learn from this? And can I help you out? Because usually the test is so difficult, I don't want to take it again. I'm going to preach as I came. Usually the test is so difficult, I don't want to flunk it. So I don't want to have to do a makeup exam because I didn't pass the test. In other words, whatever it is that I need to learn, I want to make sure that I learn it. Y'all, anybody here going through anything right now? And you've been asking the Lord, how long am I going to have to go through this? And I know some of y'all been asking, you've been told don't question the Lord, don't ask the Lord no question. Well, that's you. I can't find it in the Bible. I can't find it in the Bible. Don't ask the Lord no question. Well, I ask questions. And sometimes I have an attitude when I ask questions. Y'all don't want to talk back to me. You see, you're not asking no question. Why, oh Lord, how hast thou allowed me to go? No, that's not how I ask. Lord, I don't understand why I'm going through this. I'm frustrated. I'm upset. My nerves are worked up. Can you please give me some inclusion on the decision-making process? And so don't get mad with me because Jesus asked the question. Yes, sir. When he was under the weight of the sins of the world and suffering unrelenting pain, Jesus on Calvary said, my God, why have thou forsaken me? And if Jesus can ask a question, yes, sir, then I think Destry ought to be able to ask the question. Especially when I thought I should have been out of this by now. By now. I thought I'd have been married by now. By now. I thought I would have gotten ahead of my financial situation by now. I thought I would have come through my illness by now. So the question is all about unwavering trust in God during the most difficult setbacks of life. I don't know who I'm preaching to. Because when I look at this text, the first sentence of Job chapter 13, verse 15, has been interpreted in various ways. The scholarly variation of the text notwithstanding, this is undoubtedly one of the most famous lines in the book of Job, and also all the book of the Bible. Readers of the King James Version of the Bible in every generation since 1611 have heard in their minds Job make this heroic declaration of faith. Though he slay me, yet will I trust him. The word slay means to assassinate, which sounds rather violent contextually and grammatically, of course. But Job did not mean it literally because he was alive when he said it. He was using strong language because that's how he felt, as though God had struck him dead. And sometimes you have to just free yourself and say what you feel. Lord, I'm hurting. Lord, I don't understand. Lord, I'm afraid. I need you to give me some hope. Give me some assurance. Let me know that you're with me. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest the table in the presence of my enemies. Tell somebody your enemies are going to see you. They're going to see you. They're going to see you. They're going to be sitting at your table. They'll be sitting at the desk. They'll be signing off on your orders. Y'all don't want to talk back to me. Yeah, they'll be signing off on your orders. They'll be signing you off and shipping you off and doing all that. But God said, don't you worry about it, because in the end, you're going to win. So we only see Job sitting down on a heap of ashes and scraping off the corruption of the lingering souls and off all over his body. But Job saw nothing to cheer him, nothing to comfort him or inspire him. Job saw nothing to light his long night of pain like a flash of lightning. He received a revelation about his painful predicament, and he declared and demonstrated that he was going to place his unwavering trust in God during the most difficult setback of his life. In Job 1:21, God gave him revelation. God gave him revelation. He said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In other words, nothing could alter Job's trusting affirmation, his firm belief, his confidence in the honesty and integrity and reliability of a just God. He demonstrated this trusting relationship by worshiping. And you see, a lot of times when we go through stuff, we stop worshiping. We stop giving God the glory. We stop lifting our hands. We come looking sad and looking down and looking pitiful. But when you're going through the most, that's when you ought to worship the most. This word here in the Hebrew, blessed, as a Hebrew word, where we get the English word eulogy or eulogy, which simply means to say a good word. He said, blessed be the name. He says, even though I'm going through, I'm going to eulogize God. I'm going to say a good word about the Lord. In other words, even though I'm hurting, I'm going to preach the Lord's funeral. I'm going to tell everybody that, oh, taste and see that the Lord He's good. I'm going to bless him. I will bless the Lord at all times. In other words, in good times, in bad times, in times of plenty, in times of famine, I'm going to bless the Lord. So Job eulogizes God, and in the pit of suffering, Job spoke well of God in spite of his trials and difficulty. And do you know how Job overcame the attack of Satan and the difficulty of his situation? He trusted God without reservation. Whatever was happening, he worshiped God. And he fell down upon the ground and worshiped. I'm almost done. He fell down on the ground and worshiped. You see, when you stumble and stagger from bad news to worse news, worship. When Satan wants to take you out with trouble and trials, worship. When others have buried you under a judgment of failure, worship. When you are overwhelmed by events and circumstances that are spinning out of control, worship. So Job said to us that no matter how harshly life had been treating him, no matter how painful the disappointments were, no matter how rough the road he had to travel, no matter how poverty-stricken he became, even if God decided to slay him, he was going to demonstrate a trusting relationship with God by worshiping him. So I need to tell you that life is not going to be fair. Y'all not going to help me out. Why do good things or bad things happen to good people? Well, Paul said, and we know, that all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and the call according to his purpose. And when you look at that word purpose there, it literally means that God has a deliberate plan. Just hold the music for me. Yeah, it means that God has a deliberate plan. In other words, whatever you're going through it on purpose. Y'all don't want to talk back to me. Divorce on purpose. Fired on purpose. Sick on purpose. God is working it together. You see, you got to understand, I don't know if you've ever seen a pharmacist fill a prescription. He goes in one drawer and gets something out, put it in a jar. Goes around the corner, picks something else up off a shelf, and put it in the same jar. Then go down 3 aisles, get on the ladder, climb up and go to the 5th highest share, pick something off of it, and put it in the same jar. And any one of those ingredients, if you took it by itself, could kill you dead. But he mixes the portion good. And I want to say that sometime life, oh Lord, we can't have all sunshine. Because all sunshine, I think, would kill a lot of us dead. But God is so wise in his providence that he allows us to have some good and some bad. And he tells us it's working together for our good. And I know you all you've heard it said before, that God will not put more on you than you can bear. Have y'all ever heard that? I'm talking to the church people, not holding music. God will not put nothing on you or more on you than you can bear. But I need to tell you that that's really not the truth. Y'all not going to help me. I say that's really not the truth. Because God will allow things to come on you that you're not able to bear. I'm going to leave you when I tell you that every now and then when my schedule is consistent, I go to the gym to work out. And I got a little trainer. Her name is Tiffany. She's a small little something. And she's stacked. She's built, you know. And sometimes she say, Rev, I want you to give me 10 reps of this and 10 reps of that. And we get ready to do the bench press. She said, I'm going to spot you. I'm going to stand over you. But I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. If you get in trouble, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you lift the weight back to the bar. And sometime you get to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And by the time you get to 7, you're straining. And she said, come on, Reverend, you can make it. And you get 7 in. Yeah, and then you come back down and you get 8 in. And you come back down and you're straining to get 9 in. And then just about the time you get ready to do 10, your shoulders and your arms are locking up. Y'all don't hear me? And then what she'll do, she'll get over me and then pull. I'm pushing and then she's pulling. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying? And sometimes when your burden get heavy, sometime when you can't see how you're going to make it through, you're pushing, yes, but God is pulling. Do I have a witness here? When your burden seems like you can't bear it, I just want you to know that God will make a way somehow. Can I get a witness? Why don't you lay your hand on someone and say, neighbor, I need you to help me preach for a moment. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all want to help me preach for a moment? Get up on your feet and connect with someone and help me preach for a moment. Yes. I want you to know that life isn't always good. I want you to know there are going to be nights that you're going to walk the floor and cry all night long. There are going to be days when your friends turn their back on you. There'll be days when your mother and your father will forsake you. But I'm glad to tell you that I have a friend that'll never leave you or forsake you. Do I have a witness here? I have a friend that'll be there to dry your tears. Oh, yes. I have a friend that'll walk with you when you're going through your most difficult time. And somebody want to know, how did you make it? Pastor Bell, I heard about your story. I went through some things some years ago. I know what it is to go through a church fight or a church calamity. And I was going through the issue. And I said, Lord, I'm embarrassed. But God asked, he told me, he said, do you belong to me? I said, yes, Lord. He said, well, then let me embarrass you. Because the same people who's running you down now is going to celebrate you later. Look at your neighbor and say, don't be no hater. Y'all don't hear me. Don't be no hater, but be a celebrator. Y'all don't hear me. And God will. Y'all not going to help me preach. I say God will. He'll pick you up when you're down. He'll turn you all the way around. Grab your neighbor by the hand and say, neighbor, I got a word for you. You may have been hurt. You may have been knocked down. You may have been left for dead. But I got a word for you. Your setback is a setup for your comeback. Tell your neighbor, say, I'm back.